Welcome to another episode of BBC. This is Nathan. I am Curtis. Episode 107. Welcome, BBCers.
Yes, they want you to say it.
They
Curtis,
want me to say it. I love you, BBCers.
I can't believe I actually thought you always did say it, but apparently not.
I don't know why either, but I'll integrate it. Okay, I'm getting roasted.
You're going to get part of the community. You're going to get involved in the podcast, Curtis. Come on, dude. What are you doing?
Okay, I'm involved, all right?
Get involved.
I'm the one in the chair here, guys. Okay, I'm involved. I'm in.
I hope so.
So this was a topic that it stumbled across me. I'm going to spring it on you here, Nathan.
I'm ready to be sprung on.
Now, a common question I get in the MLA or we see YouTube everywhere is, what's the difference between, a gold player, a platinum player, a diamond, master, challenger, etc. And, and I was thinking, what really determines the quality of a player? And my hypothesis is that the quality of a player is less so determined by the quality of their plays and more so determined by the quality of their mistakes and their deaths, right? And this ties into that whole belief about consistency, right? And the importance of consistency because, we see on even on the Summoner School Reddit and stuff like that, it's like, I verse master tier players in normal games and they don't look that good.
I destroy them.
Or there was that other one about chess where you don't know how good they are until they're in that particular situation and they're going to execute in that particular situation reliably 10 out of 10 times, whereas you're going to do it one out of 10 times. And that consistency is what leads to LP. Now, if we think about what makes you probably better than the majority of junglers and me better than the majority of mid laners, it's not really the fancy plays we make, is it? It's the consistency. It's like, okay, you're going to go into every game. You're going to know win conditions. You're going to have a hypothesis about how you're going to win this game, what your role is. So when you die or when you make a mistake, you know that it's not a random death a lot of the time, right? It's not like a random silly death.
You have intention. You're fighting over something. You're doing something that you're operating with a level of information that's probably higher.
The death might make sense, or it's like you just get really outplayed by by a spectacular player. That's okay.
Right. Yeah.
Because I've got a client in the MLA at the moment, Dorito, and he's been really struggling with threat assessment, right? And he's been trying to get in the habit of assessing key threats and identifying hey, who can kill me and stuff like that. And I'm struggling to articulate to him that you are going to die no matter what in League. You're not going to, just because you have perfect threat assessment doesn't mean you're not going to die. You're always going to die at some point, but it's the quality of the deaths that matters. If you're going into the game and then just randomly die into a level 3 gank, that's a bad death.
That's a low quality death.
That's a low quality death.
I'll say the lowest possible quality death is the enemy team requires no resources to get that kill. So they haven't burnt any flashes. Yep. They don't put themselves in a vulnerable position. They're not going to get punished for it. They didn't lose HP themselves. So if I think about the worst quality, let's say for a gank perspective, versus high elo, right? So a low elo gank would be they gank, they able to kill, the jungler loses no HP,
and they
no
path perfectly as well.
They perfectly, they don't lose anything, there's no difficult decision.
Let's just do El Clasico. Let's say Lee Sin on blue side, he starts red, wolves, blue.
That's not the path, Curtis.
What would you do? I mean, I don't play jungle.
That's so funny. I literally had I had Cupcake ask me what are the level 3 paths the other day because it's crazy. No one actually knows something else.
No, I know Rek'Sai.
You know Rek'Sai.
I don't know Lee Sin though.
Okay,
because I've watched your Rek'Sai guy.
So you do red Raptors Gromp.
Does Lee Sin want to do Raptors?
Yeah, you with E.
Right.
Is that correct, Charles? Charles is our Lee Sin player.
Fascinating.
So you've Raptors. That's just the stereotype. Days, right? But back in the day, let's say he did red blue Gromp. But yeah, basically 3 camps into gankies, you're saying.
Okay, so let's say do red Raptors blue or something like that.
Red Raptors Gromp. You don't get level 3 from red Raptors blue.
Okay,
Curtis.
red Raptors blue Gromp. Charles is
not blue Gromp. Red. Come on, Curtis. We gotta do
red Raptors. Say it together. Red Raptors Gromp. Blue.
Yes. No.
Hey, why don't you do blue there?
Because you're going to gank straight away.
You want to be.
Otherwise, it's 3 minutes in the game.
Right.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Red Raptors, Gromp,
hit level 3. And then are you going
to... But you could theoretically do blue if there's no gank.
There's no gank, that's right.
Okay, look. Doesn't matter if we do blue or not in this case.
That's really important, Curtis, my coaching clients.
But the premise is that he's done his path up top side.
Yep.
He's on that side of the map. It's not inefficient for him. It's not he has to like backtrack or do anything. Like it's just he's on the right side of the map. He's not being inefficient with camps. The enemy top lane is just shoved up, stock standard. He goes over like they're not warding nothing. He just gets a point blank Q or just ward jump, go in straight away, W into a minion, whatever. It takes it. It's like insta kill essentially. Doesn't have to blow flash. And then can just go straight back into his jungle.
That's right.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like a really bad death from that top laner. It's like it's probably the worst death you could have.
It's
right?
not so much a good gank from the jungle, that's just standard. It's
standard.
more it's more like, the quality of the death from that laner.
Right, exactly.
That's right.
Now you're gonna have good deaths, right? Where a good death is where maybe you had a hypothesis about the jungle's path, or the jungler did you didn't have the necessary information, or the jungler did a really creative path. They did sometimes, those rubber band ones where they'll go. I don't know what specific camps they do. I see it with Kha'Zix sometimes, where they kind of go onto one side, then loop back, and there's actually no way of knowing what they're doing because I don't have that information, and they loop back around. That's like sometimes a good gank. It's a good gank. It's a good gank. And you always say this to me, Nathan. There are ganks that sometimes you can't avoid. Like if I want to blow your flash, you're gonna blow flash. Sometimes that's the reality of the situation. My point being here, though, when we're looking at we're doing our reviews in Soul 2 in the MLA, you can tell immediately the type of player you're working with. And even if they didn't tell you their rank, by the quality of their mistakes and how are they dying? How are they thinking when they were dying? Were they even thinking when they were dying? In what situations are they dying? What are they losing from that death? Like you can be dying sometimes, but you had to get the wave out, and you just get the wave out, and you don't really lose much. You're not even losing a wave.
That's right. Yeah.
Sometimes it's like whatever. It's like not amazing, but it's not that bad.
Well, let's say a horrible death you would see is like, let's say you're in the lane phase and like the waves. You know how the waves sometimes it doesn't really look that big, but it's starting to build up a little bit.
Yep.
But like they're half HP, and you take a trade. And then suddenly you're on 20% HP, and then the waves thing, and the jungler comes and then kills you, but you shouldn't have taken that trade in the first place.
Yeah.
Those situations can just completely flip the game, right? And that's a terrible death because then you die and you lose all those minions.
Yep. Yeah. If you die when the wave's like starting to slow build out to them, it's the worst death possible, especially when you don't have TP. It's really, really, really bad.
It's like trading. It's like the mindset of trade in that situation. It's like putting yourself in a position that you can die, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually had a bad death yesterday. Where I think I had a scaling jungler. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I was playing a heavy trading matchup mid, and I just couldn't I couldn't accept reality that Wukong would like skip his camps to come mid when it's super obvious that he would. And I shouldn't heavy trade in that situation. I should wait. Like I should make my jungler's life as easy as possible by not heavy trading in this situation, even though it's what I want to do. Like I have to accept reality that it's not what my Kayn, I think it was a Kayn or something. It's not what my jungler would want to do.
Very good
in
question to
this game.
ask. What does my teammates want to do?
Like I'm making his life harder by giving the jungler, the Wukong in that situation, that game.
That's right.
And I remember thinking to myself, that was a bad death. Like it doesn't get me anything. Even if I could have maybe outplayed it, it's not even worth the risk. Like he has a window to kill me, and I just gave it to him essentially. But if I were to say do that all the time, I just wouldn't be at my rank. I wouldn't be at my rank. The reason I'm at my rank is because I don't make that mistake very often. Otherwise, I would get weirded out. I'd be at the bottom of Master or like Diamond essentially if I were to make that mistake all the time. So I think that this topic and this concept of the quality of the deaths and the quality of the mistakes it's foreign to people, isn't it? They assume that an amazing player. It's not about their death. So it's about the quality of their plays.
It's minimizing the damage that's happening. It's minimizing the damage.
A more articulate way to put this is I actually say climbing is oftentimes not what you do. It's what you don't do.
That's the decisions you don't do. I say that specifically for the ganks. It's you can tell a good jungler by the ganks he doesn't go for.
Yeah.
That's what you know.
It's the trades that you don't go for. It's the wave that you don't push. It's the moment where you are aware of your jungler and you don't heavy trade in that one moment. And these are things that aren't sexy and they're really hard to pick up on, aren't they?
Very boring stuff.
Very difficult stuff.
I'll tell you what the most boring stuff is and the most basic is like map awareness deaths. They get really shrugged off very easily. Like I'm at the point now, I've been telling Will a lot this and like we've been working on this and just for me, my own gameplay, I'm at a point, I mean, that's obviously the level where I'm at, but it's still, I think, applicable to many people. Map awareness deaths theoretically should be unacceptable. I had Kel Casey. I played with a game with Kel Casey.
Who's a member in the MLA.
MLA, yep. And we won a game, and he's all excited that we won, and I flipped at him because I was pissed off him in the game because we saw Rengar there. We knew he was there, and like he knew he was around the vicinity, but then just still dies to him. He said that obviously the threat assessment and stuff, but those deaths still are unacceptable in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, there's a level of like, you don't look, threat assessment is it's a tricky concept in the sense that like, I said this, I think on last week's episode where I had that painful experience with the Prowler's Claw Cane. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a big difference with itemization. Sometimes you're versing a Gore Drinker Rengar, or you're versing a Prowler's Claw or whatever it is, one-shot Ghostblade Rush Rengar. They're very different. So, it depends again on that death. If he in his mind had a hypothesis, okay, I was expecting this guy to either not be this level or not have that many kills or not have that item, and I disrespected that, then that's you can kind of accept it. But if it's like, I knew that, and I knew he's in the area and I still died, then that's unacceptable. Yeah. So again, it's a fine line. It's again tying back to the quality of the mistake, the quality of the death.
I mean, we're literally talking about he literally thought he couldn't jump out. The range of the jump out of the bush wouldn't be at a certain aspect. So,
right, yeah.
At that level, you have a little bit higher expectation. Yeah. But yeah, I think that, I mean, because like before Mapuena's death, that is a really bad death in my eyes because again, you're going to get caught off guard. So very low resources are going to be used.
Yep.
Right. But like the way that I view a high quality, or like, let's say you die or a situation, it's like you're more prepared for it. So I think about the difference if a mid laner, I'm ganking a mid laner who's maybe leaning more to the side that I'm there versus leaning completely on the other side. They're prepared for me.
They're prepared.
Do you know how different that gank is? Like, even if I did gank that, I'm going to maybe take some tower shots. I'm going to have to burn some flash. The whole situation completely,
different dynamic.
The whole game changes.
Yeah.
Because then I have no flash and that could affect me later in the, so think about how small that detail is. Leaning on the right side will change,
it's so big.
Changes the entire game.
So Nathan, I'm obsessed with trying to distill what is it that like distill climbing in League. That's what we're trying to figure out. Like, what does it look like in the most articulate, the most concise way possible? And the concept that I've been obsessed with that I'm still struggling to articulate is that of applying the fundamentals of League actually gets harder the higher you get. So this is what people don't get. Let's say we coach a Platinum 4 jungler or mid, right? And we teach them some fundamentals about the game. And let's say from a mid lane perspective, I teach them about warding and leaning, timing your trades with like last hits, like learning how to last hit, probably wave management, all this stuff, right? And matchup understanding. When that person climbs, and let's say he goes from Platinum 4 to D4, applying those exact same concepts now at a higher rank requires more bandwidth. It requires more fuel in a way because the players are better. They're going to adapt faster. They're going to make better quality decisions. The
game
junglers are
pace
better.
is quicker.
The game pace is quicker.
Yeah.
So people automatically assume, I've learnt this before. I get that. I know the fundamentals, but why am I still dying? Well, it can just be you need to take time to adapt to that rank. And this is why I think even at like a challenger level, like all I'm now working on really is just applying the boring stuff consistently against better quality opponents.
That's right.
Better junglers that have better pathing, laners that have better micro, because now it's requiring more bandwidth to trade with this guy and track the jungler and not die and get good resets. But none of this is really fancy.
If we talk about this, everyone knows
this is what makes Chovy so goddamn good and Showmaker so amazing to watch. They're trading at an incredibly high level while being ungankable and not missing CS.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're doing.
That's the skill.
It's none of the crazy small wave management. It's none of the fancy macro. It's the consistency. Hitting the skill shots they need to hit, not making blunders in basic 2v2s and 3v3s. But that's hard.
It's very difficult.
Very, very difficult.
That's why I said it's disrespected in the community, straight up.
Straight up disrespected.
Like when people say like you have to learn the fundamentals, that's like a dig at someone for some reason.
Yeah, it's like a negative. We view it as like a negative.
It's like let's bring it back to the fundamentals.
I'm like working on like tracking enemy jungle clear while
people
training. People like laugh
you.
at that. Like it's like
you fucking serious? That wins me games in my games.
My learning objectives are like really basic stuff all the time. It's like I just want to go back to using my lol states or Tracking first clear. I always say that all the time. Tracking first clear is something that I constantly go back to because I'm having to relearn my matchups, and that takes a lot of my bandwidth. And that's normal. It's normal. It's very rare that I've ever felt like I need to like understand something complex to win. That's not the difference between me being 700, 800, 900 LB at all. That's it. That's basically the difference.
It's all the very small things.
It's all the very small things.
And it just gets absolutely disrespected, and people just don't view it that way.
They don't view it that way at all.
And you know, we always say that people come into our coaching programs looking for some sexy answer, but they don't get what they're looking for.
They don't get it. Yeah, and that's the thing, because we feel guilty sometimes in coaching sessions because we say something that's very basic, and I'm like, we need it. This is it, and you just need to get the reps in. But it's like
I already knew. Anyone could tell me, so I could figure this out myself.
I don't need to pay for this, but that's
the reality.
I'm cutting through the fat. I'm giving you the meat here. This is exactly what is it that you need to do.
Yeah.
But it's a tough pill to swallow, right? It's not an easy thing. It's like when you go to the gym for the first time and the trainer might say, okay, you're going to start off with the bar. And like that's just ridiculous. Like, surely I can do more than the bar. Even if you can think you can do the bar in like a squat, for example, you're not doing it with right form.
That's
or
right,
like you're like wobbling
cheating
all over
form.
the place, or you're cheating form. Like we're delusional about oftentimes what we are capable of.
You can lift that weight, but it's not done well.
It's not done well, and then it's the consistency again. If you don't have the consistency, you're it's like building a house on sand. It's the same thing. This ties into the second topic that I want to talk about. Now, So
just to end that segment, it's the quality, your quote is, the quality of your deaths.
No. The quality of a player is shown not by the quality of their plays, but the quality of their mistakes and deaths.
Yeah. I like that. That's another BBC
That's a BBC fundamental, honestly. That's a BBC mantra right there.
Yeah. That's why it needs to be repeated. So repeat it one more time for us, guys.
The quality of a player is not shown by the quality of their plays, but the quality of their mistakes and deaths.
Love it. Let's drill that in, guys, all right? Drill it in.
Now, I was attempting or am attempting to make a video distinguishing between what differentiates between like a gold Victor, a platinum Victor, a diamond, master, challenger Victor player. Like just Victor specifically, right?
So you're focused on one champion.
This is what I want to do for a video.
Yeah.
To get like practical and like what is the difference? Like if there's a Victor, gold Victor, and then there's a diamond, what's going on here, right? And so what I did, I started watching over old reviews that I've done because I've done so many Victor reviews. I think I've done at least...
Do you reckon it's your most popular champion?
It's by far my most popular.
Wow.
I think I've done over the course of the MLA between probably 300 plus Victor specific reviews.
That's so exciting because you've played so much Victor. So
Victor is the champ that I know like the most about by far.
Yeah.
In terms of how to win a game with Victor. Like
coaching a champion that you play is so fun, dude. I love it. When I get Rek'Sai reviews, I get so excited.
And I know like how they're thinking, how they're feeling, what sort of game states they're in.
Gone through, the
mistakes. And like I know that like the importance of a mistake. Like one mistake they make, I know how big that will be. Anyway, so I'm kind of going through and I'm rewatching goal ones, plat ones. But what I started to do was, make notes as I'm going through, right? And in my mind, as I'm approaching the making of this video, I thought it would be like very Victor specific things. Like, okay, Victors and gold tend to do these things, like maybe miss ease, miss tether, don't use their W to hold waves, stuff like that. And that's true. We see that at the beginning levels of Victor players. But the difference between platinum Victor players and diamond Victor players and then master Victor players, what I realize is that there's very, very little difference with Victor specifics. What I mean by this is that if you have a baseline level, say a Victor player, they've got 80 games with Victor, whatever rank they're at, you could be gold and have 80 games with Victor. You could be platinum, have 80 games with Victor. You could be diamond, have 80 games with Victor. The differences in their champ mastery is actually not that large. They all know how to hit ease. They all know the importance of tethering. They all know how to use W on the wave. They all know the importance of aggressive R usage. Like, there's not many Victor specifics that differentiates these players. What I realized, it's how they apply the tool of Victor to win the game. That's what largely, and the fundamentals. It's the game fundamentals rather than the champ.
Victor specific.
So I thought, and I'm like, this video doesn't make sense because now all I'm talking is that in Platinum, they know how to balance trading with not dying to ganks. So that's the biggest thing I've noticed. Platinum Victors, they either don't understand the matchup or they just die to ganks while trying to trade. That's the difference in a Platinum 4 Viktor and a Diamond 4 Viktor. The Diamond 4 Viktor will not die to ganks while trading. The Platinum 4 Viktor will die while trading. That's 95% of it.
That's as simple as it is.
It's simple as that.
Yep. I love
and
that.
It's crazy to me because it's not, none of it was tied to Viktor specifics. Sure, in Diamond Plus, then maybe there's like, they know how to play the mid game bit a little bit better and like adapt their build and stuff. And sure, that's there.
Maybe
But
their positioning, like
Yeah.
they're like I always visualize like a scary Viktor is someone who's like sitting
They're
in the
tethering
bush
and
in like a
positioning so much
a
better.
choke,
Right.
like
These
they're
are-
setting themselves up in
But
that
these,
position.
I would say it's less Viktor. It's more game sense.
Yeah, it is more game
it's-
sense
It's
thing,
overall
yeah.
game understanding,
Yeah.
threat assessment. It's understanding where to be on the map, understanding the next objective, like not overextending in the side lane, and knowing when to group. And like these are concepts that are tied more to the game rather than Viktor. And I found that fascinating. I'm like, I can't make a video on this. I don't think it makes sense.
Interesting.
Because I don't think people would understand it. Because I'm not actually
teaching Viktor,
Yeah, I'm not
even though the
teaching
video is
Viktor.
meant to be teaching Viktor.
Yeah, like I feel like it would be disingenuous to the audience because all I'm now doing is talking about how to be better League of Legends player. And I found that really interesting. I'm like, I wonder if this is the case for all champs. And I just wanted to kind of throw it out here. Is this the case you think for junglers? Like,
Curtis, remember when I said I'm making my Rek'Sai guide? I'm teaching how to jungle, not the champion.
wasn't so in your mind, right? If you got a Platinum 4 Rek'Sai player who's got 80 games with Rek'Sai, and then you've got a Diamond 4 Rek'Sai player with 80 games on Rek'Sai, would you like? Is it Rek'Sai specifics that are like champ mastery specifics that are different, or what is the difference? Or is it jungle fun? They jungle overall like lane understanding of laners and
It'll
stuff.
be the exact same as it's just like a more game knowledge thing, I guess. I mean,
game
there
knowledge,
is there is the champion master, but everyone, even like a gold Rek'Sai knows how to one shot someone with the combo.
Yeah, they
right?
all know the combo,
Yeah,
right? And they
it's a
know
basic
like
combo.
where the damage comes from.
My
and
gank theory model, I apply that to every champion.
that's not about Rek'Sai, right?
That's
It's
an
about
hour.
jungle fundamentals.
It's like an hour of my guide. The gank theory model.
Right. So that's my point. My point is that it's weird, right? Because you need the champ mastery, but it gets to a level where it's like it's diminishing returns. Like you get to like the 80 game mark on like a champ, and then it's all very minute details that only really matter when you're master plus, I would say. But everything below that, like gold to master,
It's
is
just learn the
more
general game sense.
general
and
game knowledge.
game knowledge and
really.
sense,
It's
yeah.
like why it's like you're going in. It's like Viktor, right? You could insert Viktor, Orianna, Syndra. Doesn't matter what champ you put in there.
I mean, as we say with champ mastery, we need that champ mastery in there to even be able to learn properly the game.
Well, you can't think holistically
Speak
about the game and apply the
Till you have
fundamentals
the
because you
champ
need the
mastery.
muscle memory to be able to execute, right? It's the same thing. So, yeah, so I don't know how to approach that video. I don't even know I'm going to do it. Like I was like thinking about it, like preparing my clips. It doesn't make sense. So I might have to change the video. I don't know. And it's so interesting that you think you know something, you think you can make a video on something, and then as you're delving into it, you kind of learn more about, like you learn stuff. I learn stuff making videos sometimes. I'm like, I don't know how to teach this.
Yeah, because you're forced. It's great when you're making a video because you're forced to like figure out how to teach it and learn it. Figuring out how to teach something is the best way to actually properly understand some concepts.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's very difficult to teach some aspects of the game.
Yeah, I'm actually in the moment trying to teach Steve and Tim to coach. They're helping me out in the Mid-Lake Academy. They do some coaching sessions. And yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I actually spent time watching them coach, like coaching the coach, right? And coaching someone else to be a coach and help them refine the craft of coaching made me realize how much I'm doing without even realizing it. And it's overwhelming. Like I was actually genuinely overwhelmed with how much stuff I have to go through and how many like weird tools and fundamentals of coaching that I've developed without even
Without knowing
realizing
it, yeah.
just through bulk sessions.
Yeah.
Teaching something is bloody hard. Doesn't matter what it is. Just teaching is just a hard skill. It's a very complex craft, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Did you have something? I got some more here, but
Yep, we'll dive into what I want to explore today with you,
Okay.
Curtis. So we talk about a huge theme. We talk about embracing the chaotic nature of solo queue, all right? And not just in terms of like, that's more of a quote, the specific game stuff. It's like a chaotic game. Say people are dying, people don't listen to pings, crazy objectives, it's fast game pace, but also just embracing the chaos of and the dirtiness, the messiness of just our ranked journey in general. People have ranked anxiety, it pops up. People start thinking about the LP. People ditch the process. and leagues are complicated again. It gets very overwhelming. I came across a video about the US Marines, how they train them to deal with a chaotic situation of you're in a helicopter, you get taken down into the water, right? Okay. So think about how chaotic this is a life and death situation, right? You're strapped into a helicopter and you're just into the water, dangerous situation, right? And they talk about the beginning of the video. I only show a certain one minute clip about sort of like the lessons that they come from this. But you guys can go watch the video. It's a 10-minute video. We'll have it linked in the description. And they talk about they train them specific reference points. What we talk about.
Yep.
In last episode, I think you were talking about reference points about like sometimes you got to think about getting yourself out of the seat first, but you have to first be ready for the water to hit you. And because you're going to be maybe upside down, the water's all going to go in your sinuses and stuff. So there's chaos straight away. You're already in like a dangerous situation. Then you got to like maybe push something out, and they go by step. So they train them step by step before they get into the actual helicopter simulation.
Oh, there's a helicopter simulation.
Yeah, so they do have this whole simulation. We'll go into it. Basically, they're in a pool, right? And they're in the helicopter thing. They're strapped in, and then they like, okay, we're going down, and they're all strapped in, and then it goes all into the water, and they're literally in life and death situations. Wow. And the instructors around them, there's like a safety message signal. You have to like tap your hands on your head, and they'll come and collect you if you're stuck. And people fail this like the first three times. You need a lot of experience for dealing with this situation. So
people like die in this stuff. Like remember in David Goggins when like someone died?
Yeah, that was in the
pool.
Hell Week.
Week. Someone actually and someone died in the ocean, didn't they? Or someone died in the pool.
It was the pool.
Someone died in the pool.
Yep.
That's like drowned in their own fluids, essentially.
Something like that. So let's look at this clip here, and it will show some of the clips as well. Obviously, if you're on listening on Spotify.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. We'll just play this and we'll commentate after.
When you have a situation that goes bad pretty quick and stuff literally hits the fan, like the rotors start hitting the water and life turns upside down and you feel like you're sinking, you're in over your head, and it's a situation you don't know how to deal with. Some of these guys didn't know how to swim. If you freak out in that moment, you're going to stay in that dark place. That's literally suicide. You cannot do that. What you have to do is stay anchored to the truth. Stay anchored to the things that you know. Keep your reference frame. For me in my life, personally, I have things that I stay anchored to that keep me aligned to truth. So in that situation, you do that, and then you start thinking towards the safe exit from the situation. If you don't react correctly and you don't slow down and think, things can go very bad in a hurry. It's very, very important not to freak out in the chaos. Take one decision after another, slowly thinking it through, that gets you closer and closer to the light. And eventually, once you do that in a series, you will make it out and you will see the light again. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was exciting.
I like it.
What do you think about that, Curtis?
Yeah, so many parallels between league and our journey, isn't it? When shit hits the fan, whether it's that 0-3 block or that rough week, or
you start thinking about champ mastery. My champ pool is exploding. The next patch hits.
Meta.
What do my friends think? My friends, there's so much chaos and overwhelming.
This actually is really important. This is really important. I'm glad you brought this up, Nathan, because I've got clients, a lot of clients at the moment that basically they write me an essay basically saying something like this, where it's like, Curtis, I'm really dedicated to improving, and I've been following the process. I'm putting in the work. I'm doing what you say. I'm rocking up to coaching sessions, and I have improved. But the fear of failure, like I've put myself on a time frame. I've got these months or this year that I want to achieve this goal, and it's wearing down on me. Every day I'm thinking, what if I don't make it? And if I go backwards, I go down from D4 back to P1, and I want to reach master. The toll that's having on my mental, it's killing me, Curtis. They say things like this time, like, oh, I got this year or this amount of months to achieve this, and this is my goal. And wrestling with that goal, they can't stay focused and present on the moment and just do the next thing.
Do the next thing. That's what I love what he says there. He says, you got to think and like, okay, just very logically, what's the next step? Stay anchored in the truth. I like that comment saying like, what do we know? It's like, okay, guys, like, your clients, they know what fundamentals, they know what good League of Legends looks like for that champion. We're simply working towards getting there. We talk about the process, doing a 3 block, playing with high intensity. That's what happens for me as well. When it starts getting chaotic in my ranked season.
Bring it back to basics.
Bring it back to the basics. Go back to the truth, my principles. Play with high intensity, champion mastery. This stuff works, right? We've done it. We've had many students succeed with it. It's truth, okay? Yeah.
I wanted to riff on this because I think people lose their reference point in their journey. They
And it's
don't
so
know.
easy because, again, let's bring it back to being a Marine in that helicopter. Like, you could stay in that dark place. If you start panicking and you start thinking,
Yeah.
you're just trapped, you're just dead.
I'll give you a really great example. So Raphael is a client in the MLA, and he went through he believed to be a big plateau point. I'll talk about this in a second anyway. But the point being, he felt as though like he was stuck and that like he was confused as to why he wasn't climbing. And this is again tying to the pressures. Like he felt like he should be progressing and he's only got a limited amount of time to improve. Like he's making sacrifices in his life to try and achieve this goal. And then what happened? He's like, Curtis, I'm lost. So then what happened? I think he spoke to Daniel, who's also he's dealt with so many mental blocks and is like the king of this. And then I think he either did a peer review or spoke to him and he realized he's dying to level 3 ganks. He died literally in the first few minutes of the game. Like he was convinced that he was completely lost and he had no idea what was going wrong. And then he looked over a 3 block and he died. Yeah. And I think one of the games he blew flash level 3, one of them he died at level 3.
Yeah.
You know, and this is a guy that he knows this shit. Like we've been through this and that's what got him there in the first place. That's the key thing.
That's what I want to really emphasize. Guys, like don't shit on yourself. You know this stuff.
You know the stuff.
You know it. You've watched so many videos and stuff of doing this stuff. You know, you've been in solitude MLA for a long time.
We think that it's we get overwhelmed. We try to attack it all at once. It's like we're going to have bad games that are out of your control. That is a fact. And that should be part of the toolkit. It's like we're going to have really, really tough blocks and they're going to beat you down. But when you come into that next day, you do your reviews before your next block. If that's what you do, you're going to pick your champ that you got the champ mastery with, and you're going to focus on just loading screen usage, lull state usage, key threat assessment, matchup understanding. Just go through the things that you know. And then look, if that all doesn't work, then sure, we can do a session, but like bring it back first, the fundamentals, tick all those boxes first.
Step by step.
And then we can kind of go from there. But people don't recalibrate, right? They get overwhelmed and they try to tackle everything at once. Like, oh, it's just doomed. My account's doomed. I'm stuck. I'm going backwards. I'm getting worse. It's like a whirlpool.
They're
right?
drowning.
They're drowning, legit drowning. And then some people don't make it up. Some people just give up.
And they
quit,
That's
or they make a new account or whatever it might be. Some people come out the other side like Daniel does. So it's just, we'll see with Raphael, what's he going to do? Is he going to come out the other side? Is he going to get his shit together and calibrate and realize that, it is kind of the fundamentals that have gone to shit, or is he going to crumble? We'll have to see.
Getting to the surface and getting that breath of fresh air. It's like, okay, yes, I've got to the light. As
you know
said.
what I think is also important here to mention? When you do get to the surface, you should reflect on that experience and like look back. Like
you're
don't
going
take it
back
for
down
granted.
again.
You're gonna go back down like
again.
right now. Like I feel like I'm in a really good point of my journey right now with my solo queue. And rather than like taking it for granted, like I'm really embracing it. Okay. I said to you today, I said, I'm actually aware that I got some free wins. Like I'm aware that this may not last. Like I could easily go into my next solo queue block and have a 0-3 block and feel shit.
Yep.
And I'm aware, I'm expecting it. I'm going into my next block thinking, okay, Curtis, you cannot afford to get sloppy. Bring it just again,
step by step.
Get
Get into the game, lull states,
I don't
win
want to go.
condition.
I don't want to. I'm ready. I could just be getting pulled down like under the water, like I have. I got to be ready for it because it's a very big difference between being ready, like prepared,
and just being shocked.
Just being shocked. Like those people. Like if you're in a simulator and you know what you're going to do, train for it, and you're going into the shit.
The moment, like think about it. Use the analogy. Let's say your chopper gets hit.
Yeah.
You're already thinking, okay, I'm going to be going in. What's next?
Yeah,
Pinch my nose, like the reference point. Get my thing. You're already thinking.
You're already thinking about what's next.
Panicking, like, oh my god, I'm going to die. What's going to happen?
In that time where you're panicking, that's where you do the most damage.
That's right.
That's where you do all the damage.
That's
in that
right.
time where you're panicking, and it's like for some people it's weeks. Some people it's weeks in their journey where they're panicking and they've lost control. And I think that's actually happened to so many people in MLA where they've actually been afraid to get reviews from me because they think they can handle it on themselves. They've been spiraling down out of control and they just lost. And then the work we have to do together is 10 times harder because now we're having to dig you up out of the Mariana Trench.
Yeah.
You sunk to the ocean floor rather than, we're halfway,
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I like it.
So it's just, you just got to get on top of it, guys. This actually leads me to a point where with that Raphael client, he actually wrote to me saying that the plateau narrative, he actually tricked himself to believing he was plateaued. And the plateau, like the word plateauing actually fucked him. So, we talk about like plateauing at a rank, like you get to this rank, then you're going to kind of plateau a bit, then you go there. He was like convinced that he was like plateaued when in reality he wasn't. But because he told himself he was going to plateau, like he was looking for reasons as to why he was plateaued rather than for reasons why he wasn't plateaued. And because he was looking at like, oh yeah, look, I'm doing all the right things and I'm still not winning. He was trying to confirm the narrative that he is plateaued because that's what everyone says, right? You're going to get to a new rank, like he climbed to D4 and he's like, I'm going to plateau at D4 and then or D2, whatever it might be. And he was trying to convince himself in a way that he was plateaued when he was like forcing it. It's like, it's dangerous sometimes to even consider it. It's like, let that happen. Like if you're at this rank for weeks and you're doing the fundamentals and maybe you're really confused what's going on, then maybe you are plateaued and we can get into that. But let's not jump the gun. You might just be smooth sailing for now. Let's just cross that bridge when we get there.
That's right. Yeah, people are really good at over dramatizing things really quickly.
Just a few losses.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at someone behind the camera as well, they're over dramatizing in a couple of days.
Also wanted to talk about one or two other things here quickly. I've got people in the MLA that play a lot of one champion. They may not be one tricks. Maybe they've got two champions in the pool of three, but they like play a lot of one champion. They may be one trick. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. And what I've noticed is that when you play a lot of one champion, it's very easy to get stuck into a rut because your view of the game gets very, very tunneled and you actually lose context of what League of Legends is. It's like it's not I am Nathan playing Rek'Sai, I am Rek'Sai. Yeah. And you lose sight of what
League of Legends is Rek'Sai.
Yeah, exactly. League of Legends is Rek'Sai, and you're looking at every problem through the lens of a Rek'Sai player. When sometimes the one of the big benefits of having multiple champs in your pool and the dangers of being a one trick is that you can get stuck in these you create these problems that just out of thin air because it's you versus yourself in a way. And so what I recommend people is like, don't become very reliant on one champion. It's good to have core like two or three. You need to be able to balance two or three and rotate through them to maintain your sanity. Otherwise, you're going to lose perspective over the game.
You will, yeah.
Because I've got Kozo at the moment, like playing a shit ton of Viktor and other people playing a lot of Viktor. And there were just bad Viktor games. And you're going to stop trying to, sometimes they try to figure out a way to win
those ones.
These hard games. You're not going to win.
It's a waste of time, correct.
Like, sure, you can look at the missed opportunities, but don't overemphasize it. But because they're only playing Viktor and they don't see the alternative options, they get so in their head.
Yeah. I will do this a lot with salty people. Sometimes people say like, Nathan, is this not like a really hard Rek'Sai game? Like, why are you not dodging? I said, I'm just going to go in here and just have a crack, because I'm the champ select guy. I just don't care, right? Yeah. And I load in and it's like, and then after the game, it's like, Nathan, like, why aren't you reviewing that game? And I'll be like, I already knew it was like, I'm not going to spend much
you're not going to spend mental energy
figuring out how to win that, because that game is very rare. Yeah. It's like I'm versing, like, let's say all these champs as Rek'Sai that it can self-peel,
like Ahri,
Lissandra, Ahri, and I'm against like a Wukong jungle that has W and stuff like that, and what's another, like Renata sometimes is really annoying. And Ezreal, it's just one of those games that, like, if I make a mistake, the game's just so hard to play out.
And it's not like you go in thinking that you're going to lose. You're still trying to win, but it's you're not going to waste your mental energy trying to like create some...
Or thinking that's the reason why I'm not climbing that one game.
No, it's just that one game. It's okay. You're going to lose that game.
That's right.
Yeah. But...
Losing is such an important skill in League of Legends, by the way.
Lose well.
Just losing. You just got to be a loser.
Okay with losing,
you know, like losing's part of it, guys. Think about it. If you're an exceptionally good player, I was looking at Will's win rate. He's ranked 6th on North American ladder, 1400 LP. He has a 55% win rate. That means most of the time when he's loading in, it's almost a 50-50 chance. He's losing so much, and he's one of the best players on the server.
Yeah, 55.
You're
Think about that. That's actually
losing
crazy.
so
When you
much.
put it in perspective, he's legit like an amazing jungler, and he's losing 45% of his games.
That's right.
45%.
Yep. It's insane.
45%. If you actually weigh that up, you would think that guy's like not a good player.
No.
Like he's not. But it's in context. It's 40. It's
with
he's-
those players,
Yeah,
yes.
he's winning 55% of games in a challenger game.
That's
in a
right.
way, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really really
Yeah,
good
but
point.
still, it doesn't matter. He's still losing. He has to learn how to lose.
I want to also quickly talk about celebrating a 3-block situationally. Like I think, we talk a lot about just putting your head down and staying focused on the process and getting into the review and all this stuff, right? But I think like there comes a time where you need to really give yourself a pat on the back and recognize that you've done a really good job. You express your best self. You played with high intensity. You played the champs that you play in your pool. Like reward yourself. Like you don't have to be a robot. Like I had a 3-0 block yesterday and I'm like, great, I love it. Like I get excited, but
Yeah.
like it's not that I'm focusing all on wins just because I had a 3-0 block. It's like I give myself a pat in the back. I love it. I have fun. That's what we all like, winning, right? But it's having a healthy relationship with winning. I understand that I can celebrate the wins, but not get attached to the wins.
It's a very short celebration, isn't it? It's like a couple of minutes. Maybe it can
Yeah.
last for an hour. Maybe you're thinking about it when you're making dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, good work. I got maybe a free win, but like I played pretty well those two
But
games.
it's also important to be realistic why you're celebrating that 3 block, like that block. Like it's like, what made it a good 3 block for you? Did you maintain your intensity in
Yes.
the tough games?
Yep.
Did you not tilt? Did you take control in the mid game? Like,
because you can go 3-0 on a block and
get
play
lucky.
like shit.
And you can just get lucky as well.
Yes.
You can have like you just got 2 winning sides
Yes.
in all of them. That can just happen, right?
I'm not celebrating that block at all.
No, you're not going to celebrate that
Yeah.
block. But like, what I think it's important for people, especially who lack confidence, give yourself a pat on the back when you've earned it. It's okay, right? I think like I just want to put that out there because I think sometimes we're a little bit too hard on people. So, yeah. Anything else you want to share today, or
I think that covers it. Nice, good episode.
great stuff, guys?
All right, good work, everyone.
BBCers.
Let's keep on in. Yep, Curtis is part of the BBC community now, calling people. Curtis is now officially a BBCR. I'll knight Curtis with my sword. Curtis is a
Thank you.
BBCR.
Appreciate it.
Good work, everyone. Let's keep on improving, and we'll see you next time.